Madrugar is a word you do not have in English. After speaking Spanish and English for so many years, I've discovered that there's a bunch of words in Spanish that don't have a translation in English, and this is a list with all of those words. Starting with madrugar. Madrugar in Spanish means to wake up very early in the morning, usually before sunrise. In English, I don't think you have a specific word for this action, for waking up before sunrise. In Spanish, we say madrugar, and it usually implies a feeling of sacrifice or discipline. It's not just waking up early. An example sentence would be: Mañana tengo que madrugar para ir al aeropuerto. Sobremesa. Sobremesa is a word that's laced very deeply with culture. It has to do with a very cultural tradition that we do here in Spain. Sobremesa is the short period after a meal in which people stay at the table and just have a talk while having coffee, while having dessert. It's basically about relaxing after a meal and enjoying each other's company. And it can last from minutes to hours. An example sentence would be: En mi familia, la sobremesa es sagrada. In my family, the post-meal conversation is sacred. Mania. Mania is a word that I use a lot, and when I'm trying to translate to English, I always find myself struggling to find a direct translation, because it doesn't exist. Mania can describe a little obsession or a quirk. For example, tiene la manía de mirar el teléfono cada 2 minutos. He has the habit of checking his phone every 2 minutes. Mi manía es que esté todo perfectamente ordenado. My quirk is that everything is perfectly organized. And like these couple of words, we have plenty more. Spanish is plagued with these types of words, and the best way I've found for people to discover them naturally is by actually learning them in context. And what's the best way to do this? To watch some TV shows and some movies with tools like Lingopie. Lingopie lets you watch real Spanish series and movies with interactive subtitles so that you can click on any word that you don't know and see what it means with its instant translation. Every word you click on is saved automatically as a flashcard, so you can review it later with built-in quizzes and video flashcards that show the moment it appeared. It's super intuitive. You're basically watching the show and getting the meaning of the words as they come up in real context, and that's what makes new vocabulary stick. You don't memorize it, you feel it. You can slow down the speed according to your level, or you can loop scenes if you want to check the pronunciation. You can switch between Spanish and English subtitles or have both at the same time, and even learn grammar with their new AI-powered tool. There is also a section with kids shows, telenovelas, comedies, everything organized by level, so whether you're just getting started or you're already intermediate, you'll always find something that fits you. Plus, they just added a new reading section with all of the same interactive features that's great for further practicing your comprehension and reading skills. Basically, it turns your binge watching and now your binge reading into real language immersion without it feeling like studying, which is the goal here. And right now, for Black Friday, they are offering a 58% discount off the annual plan if you click my link below. So if you've been thinking of improving your Spanish while actually enjoying it, this is your time to start. Merendar. Merendar is basically one of my most used words on my day-to-day, because merendar is something I do almost every day. And merendar is this little snack you have between lunchtime and dinner time. In between these two gaps, you might get hungry. And this is when the merienda comes into place. Around 5, around 6, you have a little snack, and this is what's called merienda. It's very common for children who come out of school to have a little bit of merienda so that they can hold off and do all their extracurricular activities before having dinner right before going to bed. This is merienda, and I love having merienda. Such a good word. An example sentence would be: Vamos a merendar en el parque. Let's have a snack in the park. Friolero o friolera. To be a friolero or a friolera means to be a person that gets cold very easily. You get both the masculine and the feminine ending, because it can be used to describe both a man and a woman, obviously. It's a word that's used to describe a person who gets cold very easily, especially when other people around them are not that cold. An example sentence would be: Soy muy friolera. Siempre llevo una bufanda aunque no haga tanto frío. I get cold very easily. I always wear a scarf even when it's not that cold. Caluroso or calurosa. This is the opposite of friolero. It can be a person who gets really hot, even though others around them don't really feel the heat so much. But in this case, caluroso can also describe the weather. For example, hoy hace un día muy caluroso. Mejor nos quedamos en casa. It's a very hot day today. It's better we stay at home. Or, mi abuelo es muy caluroso. Siempre abre las ventanas. My grandfather gets hot very easily. He always opens the windows. Empalagar. Empalagar is to get sick of something because it's too sweet or too excessive. Something that's too sweet, or a situation or a person. For example, el pastel estaba rico, pero empalaga enseguida. The cake was very tasty, but it gets too sweet really quickly. Or for a situation or a person, esa pareja es tan empalagosa que no se puede ni ver. That couple is so overly affectionate that it's hard to watch. Empalagoso. Desvelarse. Desvelarse is one of the most annoying things that can happen to you during the night. It's when you stay awake when you should be sleeping, either because you cannot go back to sleep or because you stay awake voluntarily. Anoche me desvelé viendo una serie y ahora tengo sueño. Yesterday night I stayed up watching a show and now I'm sleepy. This one's voluntary. Cuando estoy nerviosa me desvelo fácilmente. When I'm nervous, I can't sleep easily. It's a word that I use a lot when I'm talking to my grandma, because my grandma is always telling me how she is always waking up in the middle of the night, which waking up in the middle of the night, this whole sentence in Spanish is just one word, desvelarse. Estrenar. Why don't you have this word in English? It's such a useful word. You really need a word like this. Please, somebody make it up and add it to the English dictionary because it's just so useful and I'm always struggling to find the description for the English version. Estrenar is to use or to debut or to release something, like a movie or a play. For example, ayer me compré unos zapatos y hoy los voy a estrenar. Yesterday, I bought some shoes, and today I will use them for the first time. You don't have a word for this. This word would be estrenar. In the case of a movie or a play, it would be something like Mi película se estrena el viernes. My movie premieres on Friday. You do have kind of a translation for this one. But for the using for the first time, you don't have this. And it's so useful. Mimoso o mimosa. To be mimoso or mimosa is to be someone who is really affectionate, really loving, or likes to be pampered and receive attention. Like a cuddly child or a pet, or in this case, my sister with my mom. She's very mimosa, and sometimes I like to be mimosa as well. An example sentence would be, Mi gato es muy mimoso. Siempre quiere estar en mis brazos. My cat is very affectionate. He always wants to be in my arms. Estadounidense. Estadounidense to me is the funniest word because estadounidense is a person from the United States. Estadounidense. You don't have this word in English. We also have American, americano, but it's a whole continent, you know? It's actually 2 continents. So, americano could be an Argentinian or a Canadian or an estadounidense. Everybody has a way to say where they are from, except people from the United States. American, Argentinian, Brazilian, Canadian, but no estadounidense. Like, how would you say this? Let's come up with a word for this. You need to have a way to say, soy estadounidense, and not have it be translated as, I'm American.